When you think of prosthetic eyes, if you do at all, you probably picture the old glass eye. But for the last 60 years or so, most have been made from acrylic. A lot of work goes into crafting an ocular prosthesis. And one area man, Bud Turntine, an aspiring artist in his youth, has turned his talents into a 30-year career making what he calls wearable art. Health Desk reporter Todd Feeback takes us into Bud's world as he creates eyes for two very different patients.
Most people, if I say I'm an ocularist, they always say, oh, that must have something to do with eyes, but they still don't know what it means. So once I explain that to them, people are usually fascinated with it.
When she was about 3 months, she had just kind of a freak accident where there was an item that fell off a shelf and caught her right in the eye. And I remember when it first happened, I was crying to Zach because when I was little, I knew this gentleman who had a wooden eye that always scared me. And so when I heard that she would probably have to have some sort of prosthetic, that's all I could think of. And so when we saw what Bud could do, it was like, oh, thank you, Lord. She's not gonna have an eye that was like that.
Betsy in her wooden eye. That would have a different chorus.
Hey, I was in shock. That's what all I could think of was wooden eye.
The chorus Zach refers to is from a song that a friend wrote for his daughter called One-Eyed Betsy, which she sang a bit of for Bud recently.
Oh, my one-eyed Betsy, one-eyed Betsy.
Robin Macy, a founding member of the Dixie Chicks, wrote the song after meeting Betsy and put the song on an album just released in May called Wild Sweet William.
I guess I've met a lot of people through this whole eye incident and have gotten to know someone like Bud who we didn't know existed before this. And we think he's a pretty amazing guy, what he can do with his talent. And it's kind of changed our world for the better. So that's good.
It takes more than painting skills to be an ocularist, and they aren't in every city.
Board-certified ocularists, there's approximately 150 in the United States and Canada. It's a 5-year program. I mean, there's a number of things that's involved in making a prosthesis, not just the painting portion. I mean, there's the physical anatomy issues that you work with lid structures and orbital structures and implants that you have to fit over with the prosthesis, because with the newer technology now, we get a lot of movement and motility with the prosthesis if it's fitted correctly.
Right there for me.
Jim Wampler lost his sight in his right eye due to an accident, and the eye was recently removed. During Jim's portrait session, as Bud calls the painting portion of the process, he tries to match the other eye as closely as possible. Obviously, the pupil size won't change, so Bud interviews his patients to figure out a size that matches the lighting conditions for their most common activities.
I have a lady that's a librarian that typically her pupil would probably be smaller than someone that's a waitress in a restaurant or a bar in the evening.
To match the veining in an eye, Bud uses commonly available embroidery thread.
Did you want a drinking eye or just a regular eye?
Obviously, we tell people, don't use any kind of artificial tears or get the red out type drops before they come in to see me. We want to reproduce what they have as close as possible, and we don't want to mute that. Or one of the nice things about an acrylic eye, though, is that if we need to add more veining or we need to change a color or something like that, that can be done. We just, take the clear coating off and touch up the color or the scleral tones or add more veining or whatever the patient needs.
The color didn't wash off, huh?
No, it didn't wash off. Black dots go to the top. A little bit down.
Yeah. I just need to figure out some way of propping the eyelid open.
No, it's open.
It's actually open
It's
pretty
actually-
Each eye costs between $2,000 to $4,000, and they last on average about 5 to 7 years. Bud does recommend they come in for a clean and polish every year.
That's basically because of the shape of the...
Correct. And the thickness. The biggest challenge is sometimes the expectations that patients have to look completely normal. Obviously, we can get people, we can do a great illusion, but I'm certainly not the creator. Yeah, I always tell people that my work is walking work. Everybody has a little piece of my artwork and they're wearing it, so that's kind of fun. Yeah.
Remember, you can learn more about the stories you've seen here and the ones you've missed on the web at thelocalshow.com.